what happens is this is the important thing. The nefesh. Here's the important thing that I want to explain. The body of a person, human body, the part that shows up in an X-ray, the physical part of the body. That's really who we are. In other words, I don't know, the existential question of who we are really comes down to the goof. The proof is that Alikai, we say it's filled in the morning, Neshama Shilasato B. The Neshama you put in B. Bashmut, there's a B before there's a Neshama, right? Alikai Neshama Shilasato B. So who are I? So there is an aspect of B even before there's a Neshama. And in that goof has to get some kind of nefesh in order to be alive, some type of nefesh. But this is a little bit tricky here. The nefesh, this is probably true of the ruach of the Shabbat, just not honest familiar. The nefesh has to it. The Ramchal explains this in the Derech Hashem. Nefesh has to it many different levels, going from the most human to a very esoteric thing. For instance, the Gemara tells us over and over again. Chumash says, don't eat blood. What's wrong with eating blood? What's wrong with blood different than eating tongue? So the answer is, Adam, nefesh. You're already touching the nefesh. So is the nefesh? It's the dam. That's not neshama. That's not personality. That's not deeper. There's dam. There's blood, right? You cut yourself, you bleed. You can get a transfusion, get some nefesh from somebody else. But hadam, he ha-nefesh. The answer is that nefesh has, I think the Ramchal says, 8 parts to it. And it goes from the most base gashmias, like dam, which is the life force within a person, really. You can't live without blood. You can't live if your blood's not circulating. Ultimately, your heart and it all has to do with blood. Even when you're breathing, it all has to do with oxygenizing the blood. It's all about blood. So the nefesh starts at the blood level, and then it works all the way up. I'm just saying the word. It all works all the way up to the personality level, like the psychological level of a person, the thought of a person, maybe who I am in terms of personality. So there's different 8 levels of nefesh. What's the point of this? The point is, and this is the key thing. This is the key thing, that there are really 2 nefashos that we carry around. Really 2. There's in the words of the Arizal, there's the Nefesh HaBahamis, and the words of the Ramchal, Nefesh HaChiyuni, and then there's the Nefesh Elikis. This should not be confused. These are 2 important. Let's call it for our purposes Nefesh HaBahamis, Nefesh Elikis. Let me just explain. This should not be confused, as many people do, with Yitzhar Hara, Yitzhar Tov. No, it's a different subject. It shouldn't be confused also with Guf, really, and what it means is as follows: that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a Guf, and then He gave us a Nefesh, Gashmias. That Gashmi is Nefesh, Gashmias. That Nefesh Gashmi, which according to the Ramchal is the lowest of the Nefashis, is Bahami. Bahami in the sense that it's animalistic, it's flesh, it's blood, it's Gashmias, it's the domain of doctors. That nefesh, in other words, that's what physicians deal with. Physicians means they're dealing with physical things. So it's important. But that's the nefesh ha-Bahamas. It's not a Bahamas because it's something bad. It's not like, I got this behavior. That's not what it is. It's just this is what we are. We are a type of an animal like every other type of animal. The difference is, and this is where we become different than animals. Now, you see, before we're talking about the difference between us and angels. I'll start the other way. The difference of us and animals is that to this nefesh habahabas, HaKadosh Baruch Hu likes to can attach a nefesh elikis, which is the lowest part of the neshama. You get this? So think about it in terms, I'm speaking about it in sort of mathematical terms, not in ways that we can understand necessarily, but think about like there's this nefesh, and they need to interlock. And when you interlock, when the nefesh habahamis interlocks to the Nefesh Hachaim, to this bottom part of the neshama, if you will, the lowest aspect of the neshama. That gives you a segue into all the different parts of the neshama. That gets you into ruach, that gets you into neshama, that gets you up to the world of Atzilus, of understanding in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's if you're hooked in. So there's a tie-in that has to take place here, a chibur. If you don't, then you remain an animal. Meaning, this is really a place of human choice, bechira. The bechira is, am I going to hook up to this thing? In other words, the nefesh, which is the nefesh habahamis, is intrinsic to our body. It's there. Everybody has it. Amalek has it. Everybody has it, right? Nazis have it. It's part of the body. Question is, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us this gift. Neshama shenasata bi. He gave us a gift, which if the Torah didn't tell us, we wouldn't know. Adam was Adam before Hashem blew into his nostrils. We don't know, by the way, I don't think we know, that's when, he blew into his nostrils and he got up and he walked around. That's the picture that we have, I think. No, not necessarily true. Maybe he was walking around before too.
Other people too, who are just never Hamas, maybe.
Hmm?
Maybe there are other humans also.
Certainly there were animals created. There were snakes, right? We're walking around. Walking around and being alive was not what happened over here. What happened was that all of a sudden he received a neshama. That's the thing. So he was already what he was. That's why I'm saying that maybe Adam Arishan was the first one to say, Elikai, the neshama shenosata bi. You gave me a neshama. So this is it becomes his job to interlock the nefesh habahamis, which is like part of the goof still, to the nefesh hachaim. If you do, now you have access to this whole. You've just joined an elite group of people, and you have access to an entire ladder of spirituality, which can take you all the way up. If you don't, so that's what you remain. You remain a soulless person. There's bechira here. You have a choice, and it's something. How do you do this access? We're going to talk about, but I'm just explaining. I'm just giving a diagram of what happens. The Balatanya speaks out very, very, very special. That you see, everybody knows that there's Taryag mitzvahs. There's 613 mitzvahs, right? There's Ramach mitzvahs essay, Shasa mitzvahs, Lois essay, right? 248, 365, essay, Los essay. And everybody knows also that we have in our goof, Ramach Hevarim, Shasa Gidim, right? 240, I haven't counted, I'm not lucky in anatomy, but that's what Chazal said. 248 limbs and 365 veins, sinews, nerves, whatever Giddim means, maybe all of those things, 365 of them. I know that there's thousands and thousands of nerves in the body. This much, thousands and thousands of nerves in the body, maybe hundreds of thousands of nerves in the body. But that doesn't. There are still rosh of nerves. There are main pipelines of nerves, and so these are the Giddim. What's the significance of the fact that there are Taryag and Taryag? The significance is that this is our bucko to interlock. That's the significance of it. The Nefesh HaBahamis, which is what we have, right, can interlock with the Nefesh Elokis, which is, in other words, so the if you will, the highest part of the goof can now connect with the lowest part of the Neshama. And how do you do it? You do it through Taryag mitzvahs. What does it mean? Is everybody following me, or am I like talking Chinese here? Okay. Are we okay? Yeah. In other words, that because in the nefesh ruach neshama, like what you start getting up there, this is a chart. This is different parts of what we are and who we are spiritually. So, for instance, Reb Chaim Volozhin is going to say in a couple of paragraphs that it's the same thing. It's makbil to machshava dibur ma'aseh. So maybe those are terms that are easier for us to follow. But the point for this moment is that the Nefesh Elokis is interested, Hashem is interested through creating a Nefesh, not Ruach, not Neshama, but the Nefesh part of the Neshama. What is interested in is that the world of Asiya, the world that we live in, the world that we can do stuff in, touch and feel world, has its tikkun. It's really the holiest thing. It's the fact that we can give tzedakah, or we can do bikur cholim. The Arizal says the olam ha'asiya of nefesh, of the Arizal, ha'ikar hu b'halicha. The main thing is walking to do bikur cholim, walking to do chesed, walking to Talmud Torah, walking to daven, right? Schar halicha. Why is it the ikar the halicha? Because the feet are actually the lowest part of the body. So you want to do with the baisa, you want to incorporate, like you can just use your head, right? You can sit learn all day, but you're not going to do any bikur cholim if you learn all day. It's a good thing, but it's not going to. It's what you want to do is completely permeate the world of baisa. So what happens is that the Taryag mitzvahs are makbil, parallel, excuse me, to the Taryag Evarim, Ramach Evarim Shesagidim. That otherwise there wouldn't be a lock-in. It wouldn't be able to lock in. So what we're doing here with the Nefesh Adam, what we're doing is we're creating kedusha in the world of Asiya. That's what's going on with the Nefesh. If somebody chooses never to do mitzvahs, I don't want to know from it. I don't want to do anything good. I don't want to even be mevakar fola or do Hachnas Zorachim or anything like that. I don't want to give it a tzedakah. So what you have is you have a potential Rabach Evar, which is Sahidim. You have a potential. You have the correct layout to have everything there, but boom, that doesn't happen. You've never interlocked it to the purpose of why we were created to begin with, and that could be rove in the world. That person, by the way, who never locks in to the higher place, is chayv kares. That's what kares means. Kares means cut off. There's a cut off between me, the bee, and the neshama shenosata bee. There's a cut off. Kares. There's certain averes that are so bad that they cut you off immediately. There's certain hashkafas that are so bad. But the thing is that the nefesh is all about the world of Asiya. And therefore, it has to do with Taryag mitzvahs. The Ruach is all about the world of deep work. There's so much that we do with deep work, right? It's the deep work. Somebody thinks somebody averis that you can do with deep work. Somebody mitzvahs you can do with deep work that doesn't have mice at all. So what that is it's a tikkun, if you will, of a higher world than the world of Asiya. It can still be part of the Taryag, but it's crawling up higher. And then there's mitzvahs that you do with machshava, emunah, betachin, and Hashem. There's averis that you do with machshava. Avodah zarah is even with machshava. So interesting, by the way. I just want to throw this out there. The lashon of Chazal of machshava tova. What's the lashon? Mitzdaref levaisa. So it means if you have a machshava tova, you never get to do the thing. So what does that mean? I'm here, and I wanted to get it all the way down here to the world of Asiya, but I never got there. So mitzdaref. What does the word mitzdaref come in here? Just say it's ki'ilu. You did the ma'isa. What's the word mitzdaref?
It doesn't count unless you did the ma'isa.
So what is mitzdaref? It has to join. Right. You need to connect it. You need to connect it. If it's so Chazal did us a favor. They told us that machshava tova, if you wanted to do it, you went. You had all the kavanah to do it. You ran to give the tzedakah. If you gave it, you're running after the other. He disappeared. So somehow or another, that's mitzdaref l'maisa. That connects. The key word here is mitzdaref. Machshava ra, Baruch Hashem, is not mitzdaref l'maisa, because we say Chazal say, look. So we had a machshava ra. I thought about eating treif. I was thinking about eating treif. But by the time you would have come to eat the treif, you would have probably not eaten the treif. It's like a down the couch slush for us. So it's lo mitzdaref l'maisa. So it all has to do with l'maisa. Machshava tov mitzdaref l'maisa. Machshava ra eino mitzdaref l'maisa. It's not l'maisa. In a way, the l'maisa is the most important part of the whole diagram here, because That's really the purpose of why Hashem created the world. Hashem didn't create the world for us to have machshava tova, or to talk. It's not just to talk, but it's to walk, Halicha is the ikar. So the whole purpose of us, the Bria, the whole purpose of the Bria is Hashem said, okay, I'm making a Bria, I need a nation. And I need people that are going to be able to bring this Kedusha to this world. So that would be us. To bring the Kedusha to this world means that we're taking our Taryag that everybody has, Ramach Bar, and we're hooking it up to a higher place called Taryag Mitzvos. I need that. So in a certain way, the Asiya is the most important thing. What happens if you do a mitzvah shalol lishma? So what happens is you did the olam of the Asiya, but now you didn't hook it up to the next step, which is the world of Ruach and the world of the Sheva. So did you do something? Probably you did do something. You did a tikkun in the world of Asiya, but it stopped. It was short-circuited. Instead of short-circuiting it like a Russia does, where it's not connected at all, I've done my mitzvahs, I've done something in Asiya. I gave my tzedakah. But I didn't mean to give tzedakah, I just gave it by accident. You dropped money, or you just did it by accident. So you did some kind of a tikkun in the world of Asiya. God likes that, but you didn't hook up. The whole thing is to be mitchaber. So it's like the cart and the horse are not hooked up. So did you do something? You did something, but it's a mitzvah shalol lishma. So this is what we need to remember is that the dargos it's all about the olam of Asiya. That's where we hook up into the Maisa with the Nefesh. Hence, the Nefesh, and only the Nefesh. You don't find that there's a Ruach HaLokis and a Ruach Bahamas, or a Neshama Lokis and a Neshama Bahamas. Only Nefesh. Nefesh is the only one that has the same thing, b'makbil, here as it does there, like an outlet. Plug in, out, like it has, like, right? It's a positive and a negative, and it fits together, it locks together, and that takes us on a journey upwards. It's a spiritual journey. Rahman said somebody who never accesses this, right? Like you can live your whole life, God forbid, and just have no access. You're just like existing, so it's the same thing as a behemoth. Maybe personally this person will do some kind of a mitzvah shalol lishma. So you did something, but basically you're not connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom. You're not using your connector, and if you're not using your connector, so it's not. Well, we're going to learn what it's not, but it's not certainly not a full Maisa.
Forgive me if I'm not describing this correctly, but isn't there a lot like this tonight, which is greater than Torah?
But what is a good question? So you're describing it very well. the Torah ba'adif, Bais Adif. So where it says Gadol Talmud Torah, why? Oh, maybe with a Bais. That's the mascot of the Gemara. It can't be Aliba de Emes. The Torah is bigger than Bais. The only thing is that how can Torah be bigger than Bais? Bais is what Hashem wants. Asiya. It's all going to happen in this world. It's all about Lamaisa. It's all about Lamaisa. This is a mistake to think that there's. If a person is just like dealing in the otherworldly things, and you're not Lamaisa, so then you didn't do the Ratzon Hashem, because the whole creation was just to be in this world. So it never reached its destination. The plan never reached its destination. You can. It's the chibur, like take by example of the plug, so if it's not plugged in on this end, so nothing's happening, right, in the world of us. If it's not plugged in on this end, where your light bulb is, or computer, or nuclear generator is, it's not plugged in on that end, it's also nothing's happening. And if you touch it, you get hurt. It's exposed. So it has to be connected on two ends. So Rahmanas, that the person who's never connecting anything, you're walking around, you play jump rope with this wire, but you're not doing anything. That's like a behemoth, as opposed to the person who's connected it, and the place of connection. This is, let me just sum it all up in one sentence. The place of connection between us and the spiritual world is The surprise is it's the world of Maisa. The place of connection is not in the world of Machshava. We think if we'll go on a mountaintop and we'll meditate and we'll be spiritual and I'll learn Musar, Kabbalah, or whatever it is, I'm connecting. You're not connecting. Because that you could be connecting, but you're not connecting all the way. It's a short circuit because it's all the place. That's not what Hashem wants. Hashem wants it to happen in this world. That's the world of Maisa. This is. But there are things that we do in the world of Maisa. There are things that Maisa itself needs lishma. Lishma. This is why the Mekubalim like us to even say it. Hashem yichu kuchabrichu shinte. Right? Hinani muchanum zuma. Why? What do you have to say it for? Just do it. Dibor. I want to bring Dibor in here. Ruach. And of course, Machshava, or the world of Neshama, which is really connecting. So if you think about it as this is connecting to this is connecting to this, and this is connecting to the Neshama. The Neshama is connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it's just amateur to say, oh, my Neshama, it's a Nefesh, it's a Chelek Elikai Mimal. It's true, but there's a system here, and that's why it's important for us to know to connect.
What's the highest point where it's actually considered Maisa? Like at what point someone who's learning all the time? I mean, there's more as I forget who it was who didn't want to tie his shoes because he was like mivatal, a moment of.
Rasa Yom Nasa.
So, what like there doesn't seem to be any room for Maisa. So where's the highest point?
Well, Rishon Bar Yochai put on tefillin. Gave tzedakah. Like in other words, he understood that his tikkun is in the world of Machshava. I'll tell you something very, very interesting. Just there's so many different examples of this, but I just want to give two. Talmud Torah, just because you brought this up. Talmud Torah K'neged Kulam. Why? Maybe L'dei Ma'aseh. Okay? Talmud Torah is, let's take the Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, and let's put it in words that are easier for us, Machshava, Dibur, Maisa. Where does Talmud Torah fit into that? Where do you do Talmud Torah? In Machshava, and Dibur, and Maisa. So Maisa is Maisa Mitzvahs.
Dibur and
Dibur and Machshava. So, there's a machlokes. There's a machlokes Talmud Torah if you have to articulate the words when you're learning or not. Machlokes, the Gra and the Balatanya. It's a very special machlokes. If you're Torah is the Gra says Torah is Machshava. If Torah is a Machshava, so the Dibur has nothing to do with it. So the Balatanya asked. He asked directly on the Gra, but he discusses this, and this is in the Tanya and in the Kuntres Achron in the back of the Rav Shulchan Aruch. He says that the Gemara says that if you're walking through a Makom Metunaf, walking through a dirty place, a sewer, so are you allowed to be Maharer B'divrei Torah or not? The Gemara says Maharer B'divrei Torah, you're allowed to think in Torah. So apparently, you're allowed to think in Torah, it means to say it's not Torah, otherwise you wouldn't be allowed to do it. So says the Balatanya, that Torah requires dibur in order to be kind of mitzvah of Torah. Meaning, the question of machlokes there is, it's a deep machlokes, whether Talmud Torah belongs to the world of machshava or does it belong to the world of dibur. Now, it doesn't mean that once that according to the Balatanya, you don't have machshava in it also. Obviously, so you're misaking two worlds. Just like the Kubalim or the Hasidim want to put dibur to their maisa, by saying L'shem Yichud Kuchabrichu and doing a dibur. I'm doing a mitzvah now. So same thing is you want to put dibur to your machshava, and that's what Talmud Torah is. And that's otherwise. Now this is very important. When you're doing Talmud Torah, what are you connecting to what? Could be Talmud Torah K'neged Kulam. La'anius Daiti. Why is it K'neged Kulam? Because it's really misakin three worlds. You're misakin the world, especially if you speak it out. You're misakin the world of machshava. You're misakin the world of dibur. And you're also dibur maybe l'dei ma'aseh, and there's also a ma'aseh as the Rav Shulchan Aruch says akimas fasayim, just moving your lips is already a ma'aseh. So you're working in the world. Dibur in it has ma'aseh. So what he wanted to do was be Masak in 3 worlds, Talmud Torah Keneged Kula. I'm saying that he doesn't say that, but Talmud Torah Keneged Kula. But here's so fascinating. If you look at the typical Nusach Ashkenaz, I think this looks Shaar. So we make Birchas HaTorah, Asher Yitanu Mitzvah B'Tzivanu. What do you say? Lasoik B'Divrei Torah. Lasoik is an inyanim of Machshava. That's Nusach of Ashkenaz and Nusach of the Gra. According to the Siddur Ha'ari, which is really the Nusach of the Balatani, I don't know if the Ha'ari said this, but the Gra is Asher Yitanu Mitzvah B'Tzivanu al Divrei Torah. Divrei is Lashon Dibur. Al Divrei Torah, 2 different brachas. Why? Because they're doing 2 different mitzvahs. The machlokes, the Goin and the Balatani is how do you touch up the mitzvah of Talmud Torah? Is it a mitzvah of Dibur or is it a different machshava? If it's a mitzvah of machshava, so Lasik Divrei Torah. If it's a mitzvah of Dibur, Al Divrei Torah. So hence, and this you get into the whole machlokes and the Gemara brachas of Mahar Makamat tonight.
Even the bracha of Lasok continues with the Finu Fiam Chavit Israel, continues with his peh. Even in that bracha.
But what's the mitzvah?
Right.
You want to say something or not?
It terminates all 3 because it's Arucha B'Kol V'Shmura and it's and
Right, so that's what I'm saying. Therefore, it's Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam because it somehow does connect all 3 in a way that it's like a really good. It's a juicy mitzvah Torah because it actually does the world of Machshava, and then we know that it connects even higher because there's higher we're going to learn. Right now we're learning about the 3, but there's Chaya, there's Yechida, there's higher levels even, which are getting really close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Torah comes from like a different world. But it's interesting, it comes from a different world, yet it's so lamaisa, like it talks about the oxen and puravu and it's keeping kosher and this bird and that bird, It's all very lamaisa, so much so that other religions couldn't they couldn't identify with Torah. What's with all the lamaisa? The whole Christianity is based on just let's get rid of all this lamaisa. The main thing is, are you a good person? Are you a good Jew? So the answer is no. Because you might be a good something, but you're not a good Jew. Because a good Jew takes there's a shleimus of machshava, dibur, and ma'aseh. Without that shleimus, you don't have as I said before the trifecta. I said on another example too. I mentioned this somewhere, Shabbos, maybe my Shabbos tape, that you see that when it comes to the Averos, there's also 3 madregas, right? There's the Averos of Maisa, right? I treif. There's Averos of Dibur, Lashon Hara, an easy one. And then there's Averos of Machshav, Kfira, Avodah Zarah. The only place where we say the machshava rab at star of the only 2 places is by Avodah Zarah and Arayos. Why? Because that is how you do Avodah Zarah. You do Avodah Zarah with Avodah Zarah is if somebody's, God forbid, worshiping Avodah Zarah, what they're doing is it's not that they built an idol. They're being pogam in the world, in a very high world. It's a pagam in the world of the highest world of Machshava, the world of Neshama. This causes huge things like Chorban, Beis HaMikdash, Chorban, Eretz Yisrael, Golus. This is big. This is a very big thing. There's 3 kinds of Averos, and the Sfarim say that there's also 3 kinds of Einshim for Averos. Keneged. Important Kiddush, of course. We know that a lav shein b'maisa. About those words in a new way now. Lav, I did a lav, but I did a lav shein b'maisa. It had no maisa in it. So how do I do a lav shein b'maisa, for instance?
I saw one.
Hmm?
I saw one.
Can't hear you.
Lo selling. Don't leave the carbon over.
Okay. Lysol. Good. Lav shein b'maisa. You go all the way to Kutchin. That's
Dibur. Dibur.
what's Dibur?
Mashing b'meisa.
Deep. Every time you do a lav b'dibur, it's a lav shein b'maisa. So you talk Lashon Hara, it's a lav shein b'maisa. You have to go all the way. It doesn't have a maisa to it because dibur lav k'maisa done. Here, interesting, kedibur. But dibur is not l'maisa. A lot of people talk. People talking. Let's say somebody talks about giving tzedakah. Talk. The poor guy is hungry. Like you talk. It needs l'maisa, and then it also needs olav dibur because you see tzedakah, you give tzedakah, you get one bracha. You're mafayisim, you talk with the tzedakah, and you give a person comfort with the tzedakah, and physical with the tzedakah. You get many more brachas, right? And then there's machshava. So dibur, it's always good to have all three. That's the winning case. So alav shein bo ma'isa, ein loikin Allah. That's the psak, right? Lav shein bo ma'isa, mishan makas, ein loikin Allah. What does it mean? Because if you do a lav that has a ma'isa, so makos, getting actually physically punished by the Beis Din is a tikkun for a bad ma'isa. Here I did this ma'isa, right? And here's my tikkun of makos. Somehow makos, or even arba misas Beis Din, or whatever it is. A lav she'ein boy ma'isa, ein loikin Allah. Beis Din doesn't get involved in this because the Beis Din's job is to be masakin the avera, which is in ma'isa, so there's an ayah. So what happens if a person does an avera b'dibur? So Beis Din doesn't give him makos, but say the Svarim, they do something. There's a different kind of an einish. There's an einish b'dibur. So if you open the Shulchan Aruch, you'll see hilchos haramim u'neduyin, hilchos nidui b'cherim. Hilchos nidui b'cherim is talking specifically about a person who does an avera b'dibur, but he doesn't do it l'maisa. The Gemara gives an interesting example when it's about hamavaza talmud chacham, right? Talmud chacham is there. Hamavaza talmud chacham barab. So what do you do with this guy? You put him in nidui, put him in chayrim. Sounds like excommunication. It sounds like some kind of a sociological device. It's not only that. It's not just a way of it's a midah keneged midah, if you will, in the sense that if you did a ma'isa, you shot the Talmud Chacham. So then we give you makas, we give you misa. If you did a dibur of a mavaza Talmud Chacham, so your einish is b'dibur, hence you have nidui and cher. Let's say you did an avera b'machshava. What's avera b'machshava? Avodah zarah. Arayas. The avera b'machshava. Meaning, how do we know his machshava? So the answer is there was a gilui of machshava, but it's a machshava de avera. We only know about it because he worshipped the avodah zarah, but maybe, or he spoke about worshiping avodah zarah, or he has deos kozavos. So what happens to that person? The Beis Din says he's a mumar. A mumar means you have no nemanos. You're mamrim hayisam Hashem alekeichem. That's lashon mumar. You have. It's not that we're excommunicating you b'dibur. That just like your machshava is crooked, you were makalkel your machshava. So we're doing a machshava thing connected you. So it's really not based in doing anything. It's just that if your chet is machshava, it's hilchos mamrim. If your chet is b'dibur, it's hilchos charomim. If your chet is b'maisa, so it's hilchos makas. And that's the way that goes. So it's 100% makbil, if you will. The three onshim connected the three types of averos. But a similar thing, that if you do an aver, you want to do tshuva. So the Rambam says, Perak Beis Halach Aleph, the most famous Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva, says the Rambam that if you want to do tshuva on a chet that you did lamaisa, so there's three things you need to do. One of them is machshava, mischaret, kabbalah al asid. There's brain work to do here, machshava work to do here, neshama work to do here. You feel bad, I'm not going to do this anymore. You make a resolution. The second thing you have to do tshuva is what? It's vidui. So vidui is all about dibur. If you say vidui b'leiv, you're not yet to say vidui. Vidui has to be b'dibur. And the third thing the Rambam says is a chiddush. They go back to the place where you did the avera and don't do the avera. Everybody gets all nervous about this Rambam. What, I'm going to go again to the French Riviera? How am I supposed to put myself into a makom of nisayon like that? All kinds of kashas, but it's trivial, those technical questions. The point that the Rambam is making is that a chet is a pegia in machshava, dibur, and maisa. It's a pegia in machshava, in dibur, and in maisa. So the tikkun, just like the oichim have to be on 3 levels, so too does the tshuva have to be on 3 levels, and you have to be misak in all 3 things. The Rambam says it clear, all in one paragraph. He says this is what tshuva is. It's not even like the easier way to understand it, and the true way of understanding also is that it's a program. There's a program, like there's a 12-step program, there's a tshuva program, and the program brings you back to a good place. I'm sure that's true, but the technology of it is, maybe this is even the technology of the 12-step program, is that there's 3 things here that have to be misukan. It's I just give you an example, like whatever the situation. Let's say a person is having a huge relationship, shalom bayis problems. So obviously, you have to make a tikkun in 3 places if you want to make a tikkun. The tikkun has to be lamaisa. For sure it has to be lamaisa. Lamaisa, like be a good wife, be a good husband. Just do what you're supposed to do. Fulfill your duties that it says in the Ksuba, and fulfill your duties of being your spousal duties. That's the lamaisa. But we all know it's not good enough. It's not good enough to robotically fulfill your. Let's say you hire somebody else. Listen, you do all those things. It's not good enough because there's not a chibur. So you have to add into this piece over here. You have to add in some dibur. Arayat mekudeshesli, brachos, dibur of ava, dibur of chesed. The Torah's chesed al lishoyna. It's not good enough, It sounds like, I always think about the fiddler on the roof, Do you love me? I do laundry. I cook for you. I take care of your kids. What are you asking me such a stupid question? Well, that's not what I asked you. I'm not asking you what this was a scene. I'm not asking you what you do for me. I'm asking you. I need some dibur here. I need some dibur, and of course, if it's empty, then you're losing. It doesn't have the machshava. So what good is it that you have the dibur if it's empty dibur, and if you have the maisa, which is empty maisa, it's good. It's something, But the maisa is not it, and it's not shleimus. If it's a maisa shaloi lishma, it's something. Okay, it's something. Might be kedai to stay just for this maisa over here. Paying the bills, whatever. Washing the floor. Cooking for you, that might be kedai, but that's not what that's not, of course, what marriage is. It might be even the dibur. That's kind of nice, but it's not real necessarily. And what good is dibur if it's not real? Well, I guess people like to say, people like to hear these things. But the ikar is the machshava. So let's say you're a husband only b'machshava. Right? Theoretically, I'm a good husband. It's also garnished, right? So you have to have the 3 aspects. You have to always have machshava, dibur, maisa. Or, in a more sophisticated level, you always have to have the neshama, ruach, nefesh, ruach, neshama, nara. It's key. It's key to the whole thing, is to have this nara. And there are many, many more examples of where you find the 3 steps, but what we have to start thinking now, unlike, can't be amateurs in this, start thinking of the neshama as that. Let me just hazard the whole thing in 1 or 2 sentences. There's the world of Maisa, which is so important because without the world of Maisa, first 2 things happen. First of all, Hashem has not completed the circuit of what He wants, which is to light up the world, or lagoyim, plug it in all the way up, light up the world. That hasn't happened, and that's why we have Ramach Evarim and Shesagidim to be able to hook into those Taryag Maisim. So that's important. That's only working well if it's lishma and it's hooked up to the ruach. That's why we make a bracha, by the way. We're going to look at the Kabbalah and say, we make birchas ha-mitzvahs. That's what birchas ha-mitzvahs are. And that's only good if it's hooked up to the world of machshava, the world of neshama, which is kavanah, the world of neshama, which is a very spiritual place to be. Maybe the kavanah doesn't only mean I'm mechaber the mitzvah, all the way up to the kavanah's harizal. Like there's kavanah, but all those kavanahs are nothing if you don't do the ma'isa. So the three things on every aspect, and so too with Einshim, and so too with tshuva, and so too with just about everything. It's always coming down to, or coming up, if you up or down both ways. It's always coming to these three levels of interlocking one until the other until you get to a Maisa Shalom. By the way, just in Paragud Beis, so Reb Chaim Volozhin talks about Maisa, and in Paragud Gimel he talks about Dibur, Tikkun Dibur, and in Paragud Dalet he talks about Machshava. So what's significant about that is the order. Like it's the order from our point of view starts with Maisa. So it's like the Chiduch says, the Chitzonius is Ma'ir the Pnimius. It doesn't really say that anywhere, but it's a thing that people say. So the Chitzonius is Ma'ir the Pnimius. That somehow or another you can start, or maybe the words of the Gemara of like a person should be osik and Torah mitzvah shalai lishma, shemitai shalai lishma balishma. It's you start here. You could say Gadol Torah maybe l'day Maisa, or you could say Gadol Lishma maybe loy Lishma maybe l'day Lishma. But either way, you're traveling. Habalei ha, light tell you it does light mahani, and it doesn't work.
What happened to Chaya?
Those are interested in doing a mitzvah by
What?
collecting for Hafnas's Kala, preparing it
Yep.
very well.
Where's the